everybody, I'm Natalia Bonner. Welcome to Patchalong 3.0 block number 3. All right, today we're going to be using my regular size 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler. Now I did tell you that if you don't have that ruler, you can totally use the mini rulers for all of these designs. So I am going to be using the larger ruler here today. There are some designs I like to use it on, but you totally can use that mini ruler if you don't have this larger ruler. All right, friends, don't forget to pick up your design workbook. We have a companion workbook to this free stitch along that includes all of the designs that I'm sharing with you, and they're like nice printed out on paper for you. There's also blank blocks in the workbook where you can sketch, doodle, and draw your own designs. You can pick up your workbook plus register for this fun free stitch along over on our website, peaceandquilt.com. All right, friends, let's get stitching. I'll start out block number 3 with my blue Mark Be Gone marker, adding a few markings to this block. So I am going to draw a T right through the center of each one of the blocks on this 9-patch design. Once I have that all marked out, I'm ready to begin stitching. But don't forget, anytime you're working with the Mark Be Gone marker, make sure you have removed all of your markings from your quilt before any heat is ever applied. I do have a little solution. I have a link to it or a video for it over on YouTube if you want to see exactly how I use my misting spray bottle to mist away my marked lines. All right, now we're ready to get stitching. I'm going to use my 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler. Now you could also use the mini 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler. And I'm going to hold my ruler so that the 1-inch marked line intersects my marked line on my block. So the line on my ruler is going to intersect the outside on my block at the 1-inch point. I'll hold my ruler and stitch up to that point, then adjust my ruler and stitch back to the outside point. I'll repeat that on each side of my block. Once I have that complete, now I'm ready to add the fun secondary design to my blocks. Now I'm going to hold my 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler so that the first marked line on my ruler intersects, so it's going to lay right on top of that point that I've created with my stitching at the inside point of my star. I'll stitch all the way across my marked line and run right into my previous stitch line. Then at that point, I'll travel around the point that I've already stitched and repeat the process, so stitching from the point where my ruler intersects right back to that outside corner. You can see by doing that, it really creates a cool secondary design on my block. So now we've got that done on the first block. Let's travel to the second block and do that again. So start out, remember you're going to line up that 1-inch marked line on the outside of the block at the point where my marked line intersects the outside. That's the point where I want my ruler to lay right on top of the 1-inch line. So the markings on my machine quilting rulers are all designed to measure from your needle position. So it eliminates a lot of extra marking, and I think it saves quite a bit of time. So if you look closely, you'll see that on my rulers, the first marked line is the 1/2-inch marking. The 1/2-inch marking means that that point is a 1/2 inch from your needle position. Now, most ruler feet for machine quilting are designed so that from your needle position to the outside of your foot, it's 1/4 of an inch. So these rulers are designed for measuring when you are working with machine quilting rulers. I do not recommend, I absolutely recommend against using these when you're doing any rotary cutting because your measurements will be off. All right, so while I was talking, we did finish block number 2, and now it's time to move on to block number 3. Again, I'll repeat this process. Slow down, line up your rulers, stitch to the point, and adjust as you go. Now, anytime I'm working with rulers and I want those nice crisp lines like I've got here, I make sure that each time I stop, my needle is in the down position or takes a stitch in that point. To make sure you have a nice point, you always want your needle to stop or be in the down position as you adjust your rulers. Now, I move pretty quickly through my designs. I have a lot of experience machine quilting with rulers, but if you need to actually stop your machine while you adjust your rulers. Just make sure that your needle's in the down position and you can stop your machine and continue moving on. So I'll repeat this process as I continue to work my way through each of my 9 blocks on 9 patch block number 3. This block has been so much fun to quilt. I love this one. Again, it's another great one. It looks awesome here in the 9 patch, but it could also be used on a single block, on a 4 patch, on a 16 patch, really any number of patchwork designs. If your blocks were smaller or larger, I would just recommend adjusting the spacing. Maybe on a larger block, you'll go like 1.25 inches. And maybe on a smaller block, you might go like 3/4 of an inch. Just adjust your designs accordingly. Now I am using the So Fine thread here, so there are definitely points where I stitch over my original stitch line more than once. With the So Fine thread, I don't feel like I get a lot of thread buildup and still end up with a really great result. You all know that I love the look of Stitch in the Ditch. I love how it finishes things off so nicely, especially a panel like I'm working on here. It just kind of gives it more of that actual pieced look. I love it. So of course I'm going to finish off this block with a little bit of Stitch in the Ditch work. Now, the last and final thing, make sure you use your misting spray bottle to remove those blue marked lines. I love block number 3, but can't wait to start stitching on block number 4.